Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well today. So recently I was tagged in a video by Kevin To Reads in the book first date book tag. It's an original tag created by Malaysia Muses, so thank you to Malaysia for making this tag and to Kevin for tagging me and including me in your video. So the first prompt is, what books do you regret buying? So I rarely buy books. I usually get them from my library, borrow them from my library, or get it from a free library, or sometimes my family or friends will gift me a book. But on the rare occasion I do buy books, it's usually from a second-hand bookstore, and I don't like wasting money or buying books which I don't enjoy. So I usually do my research beforehand, reading the reviews, seeing what booktubers have read it and what they thought of it, and that's when I purchase a book which I feel that would be worth my time. So a book that I regretted buying was The Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, which was, like I said, very well reviewed and highly regarded in the booktube community. So I was very disappointed to find out after about 150 to 200 pages that I did not enjoy it at all. I found that the characters were very dry, very one-dimensional. The pacing was okay, but I did not enjoy the premise, even though on paper it was something I would enjoy. Basically, it's about a young boy among other children who is recruited by a secret service or secret agency to help fight off aliens. That sounded very interesting and badass to me, so obviously I read it, but uh, I did not enjoy it at all. I found it very um, like a primary school kid or middle grade school kid wrote it, and yeah, I did not want to waste any more time on it. So that's a book I regret buying, and I ended up just giving it away. Yeah. So the next prompt is, do you DNF books? Why or why not? And at what point do you DNF if you do, or how much time do you generally invest before DNFing? So I do DNF books, and I DNF them because I feel that my time and my energy can be expended on something more interesting to me, more engaging, and I don't want to force myself to go through a book which I'm clearly not enjoying. So an example of that is Les Mis by Victor Hugo. Um, I heard a lot of things about it. Obviously, it's a classic. It's a very highly regarded book. It's a very important book, and it's written by one of the most important French writers. And so I read it, and even though I wasn't enjoying it, I found it to be a slog, and many sections were very dry, and large chunks of the books were just meaningless to me. I enjoyed the characters and the themes a lot, but to me it didn't substantiate. It wasn't substantial enough to warrant me reading the whole book. So that was something I really regretted doing, and since then I learned from a mistake. So if at any point I find that the book is too dry, or I don't look forward to picking up the book, that's when I usually start to decide whether I should DNF the book. And I usually take about maybe a quarter or 20% to 20 to 25% of the book to decide whether I want to keep on with the book or not. Yeah, and so I usually take about maybe about 200 pages, depending on the size of the book, but 200 pages or so before I start to put the book down. Okay, the next prompt is there a book you did not want to come to an end or you couldn't put down? Yeah, there are many books which I couldn't put down. Many mystery series, and especially from Greg Owls, like Harry Potter, of course, and some other books which there are countless. So yeah, many books, many books. But for books which I didn't want to end, that's a different story. For me, I think I'm quite uncommon among readers in that I look forward to the end of the book, even though the experience of reading the book and enjoying the content, the characters, the pacing, the themes it explores, I can take that in, and I really enjoy myself doing so. I find myself looking forward to the end of the book so I can get to another book. And that's not to say that I don't appreciate the book itself or I don't take anything in. It's just it's just because I want to get to more books, and the faster I finish a book, the faster I can get to another book. And that's not to say, of course, that I'll rush through a book or I don't take anything in. That, like I said, yeah, but there isn't a book where I did not want it to come to an end. It's more so I'm looking forward to the end. And of course, when it comes to an end and it's a satisfying ending, all the more it's a great experience for me as well. The next prompt is, have you experienced withdrawal after finishing a specific book? Not wanting to move on to other characters or wanting to reread the whole book or sections of it immediately after finishing. So I don't ever experience any withdrawal. Like I said in the previous prompt, I usually just read the book and I enjoy it as it comes. Um, and after it's finished, I will reminisce about how that was good. I enjoyed that character. I enjoyed how this arc was played out, how this ended, or how these two characters interacted. But I don't find myself having withdrawals or having a difficult time moving on to another book or other characters. However, there are some times where I think of a certain scene or a certain passage where the language is particularly flowery, which I remember. So sometimes I'll go back and reread some passages or reread the scene again. But I rarely do get withdrawals from finishing a book. Yeah. So the next prompt is, what keeps you invested in a book? Okay. So for fiction is more of the characters. So I'm a character-driven reader. If the characters are very well fleshed out, relatable, have a lot of dimensions to them, and they have tragic backstories or a great story to tell, and they are just very well written, that's something which I would be very engaged, and it keeps me invested in a book. So even if the plot meanders or nothing really much happens in a book, that is something which keeps me invested and wanting to come back to spend more time with those characters. Obviously, though, that is not the only thing that keeps me invested, but it is the main thing that keeps me invested. And also because of the pacing. The pacing is very important. If your characters are splendid, but your pacing sucks, then yeah, it's a different story. But for non-fiction, it's more about the writing. If you can translate the facts and what really happened into a dramatic version of it, or something that's more engaging to readers, anybody can write down what happened, but it's the way you write down it that makes a reader want to read more about it. Let's say about the Titanic or an event during World War II, anybody can write down what happened, but not everybody can make it engaging for large masses to read. So that's what makes me invested in a non-fiction book primarily, is the writing. And yeah, so that is the 2 points among other things, but the two most important things that keep me invested in a book. The next prompt is, what prompts you to pick up a book? So the thing that makes me pick up a book is the cover. If it has a catchy design, or the side of the book has catchy or like a very nice font or something like that, something that just catches my attention. Yeah, that will catch my eye, and it prompts me to pick it up. And the second thing is the blurbs on the cover. If it's somebody I recognize, or is a respected journalist or a newspaper article which gives a blurb, then obviously that also plays a part in me being interested in it, seeing how many people who are respected in literary circles having a high opinion of that book. Then obviously it will also hopefully translate into it being a good book for me as well. The next prompt is, do you keep finished books, or do you reread, or do you unhaul them? I rarely unhaul my books, so those books which I finish reading, I'll just put it on my shelf. And I always think of if hopefully my child next time, or a friend who is interested in the type of books that I'm reading, I can pass them on and recommend them those books that I have. So I rarely unhaul books that I've read, and I rarely reread books as well, which I think is a bad habit. Not a bad habit, but a habit I want to pick up, is to reread more books. But yeah, I really unhaul books. The next prompt is, who or what do you trust most for book recommendations? Well, I look for my recommendations on BookTube. So you can go back to my BookTube newbie tag, and all the people that I tagged, as well as many others. Those are the people I look for recommendations. And anybody who has like similar opinions to me, like on Storygraph, where I usually do my cataloging of my books. If some people have similar tastes as me, I will also take their recommendations, or anybody who has similar taste to me. The next prompt is a bonus question. Would you ever pick up a book or read it without knowing anything about it, or conversely let someone else choose your book for you, like a blind date? Um, I would never ever pick up a book without reading anything about it. Usually, I do a bit of research about it and seeing whether it will be worth my time. And like I said in the first few prompts, I don't like wasting um, effort and time into books which I feel can be replaced with another book that is more engaging. So yeah, I at least have to do a bit of research before I start on that book. And I don't want to be surprised by anything controversial, or if it turns out being bad, I don't want to waste effort into that. And if would I ever let someone else choose a book for me? Of course I would. If they know what they're looking out for, or they have read that book before and they're passionate about it. I don't think it's about whether the book is interesting to me, but if a person really is passionate about the book and they really know how to sell the book, I think that's the thing that really entices me to get a book as well. So a certain book may not interest me in its back flap or its blurbs, but if somebody is really saying, "Oh, I love this book and I think you be worth your time," then at least is something that can encourage me to pick it up at least, because without their recommendation I wouldn't have even have thought about picking it up. So yeah, it depends on how passionate that person is about choosing that book for me. Okay, the last the last prompt is to tag other people. So I'll tag all of you who have reached this point. So if you're interested in this tag and you want to share your own thoughts about it, please feel free to do so, and just take it as so I tagged you as well. With that, that's the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll see you again soon. Thank you, YouTube.